So let's thank again Jimmy Harad. So Umoja is celebrating their 10th year here with Seattle Unity. It was a vision that they had, and it has come into fruition and blossomed and grown. And so in honor of Black History Month, I asked Umoja if they could pick a reading for us this morning. And so we're going to have Evelyn Reingold is going to share that reading with us, and it is called Let America Be America Again by Langston Hughes, and it was written in 1935. So join me in welcoming Evelyn Reingold.
Thank you. This was written in 1935, but it's still very appropriate today. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America was never America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love, where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient, endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the man, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker, sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean. Hungry yet today, despite the dream. Beaten yet today, oh pioneers. I am the man who never got ahead. The poorest worker, bartered through the years. Yet, I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet as mighty daring sings, and every brick and stone and every furrow turned, that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore and Poland's plain and England's grassy lea. And torn from Black America's strand, I came to build a homeland of the free. The free. Who said the free? Not me. Surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed, for all the songs we've sung, for all the hopes we've held, and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay, except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain from those who live like leeches on the people's lives. We must take back our land again. America. Oh, yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me. And yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we the people must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless plain. All the stretch of these great green states, and make America again, and make America again.
Thank you, Evelyn. So how many of you have heard that poem before and know it? How many of you have never heard it before? So thank you for bringing that to us. Thank you. Thank you, Umoja. So as Evelyn said, it was written in 1935 by Langston Hughes, and Wikipedia said that the poem speaks of the American dream that never existed for the lower class American, and the freedom and equality that every immigrant hoped for but never achieved in his poem. In his poem, Hughes represents not only African Americans, but other economically disadvantaged and minority groups as well. Besides criticizing the unfair life of America, the poem conveys a sense of hope that the American dream is soon to come, the dream of equality and the pursuit of happiness. So as we unpack this poem and sit with it and honor this, I'd like for us to look at this as an opportunity for spiritual practice. So last week, we explored ways that we avoid unpleasant thoughts and emotions, that we can be masters at distraction, and rather than face difficult situations or difficult problems or emotions, we find ways that we can distract ourselves from it. Pema Chodron in her book said that we turn to anything to relieve the discomfort, whether it's food, alcohol, sex, shopping, being critical or unkind. And rather than, again, facing the problem, sometimes we create pseudo-problems so we don't have to face the problem. Scott Peck said this in his book, A Road Less Traveled, years ago, when he said, you have a problem and you don't want to face it, so you create another problem so you don't have to face that problem. Like, well, maybe I'll have a drink instead of facing that, and then pretty soon I got a drinking problem. Or, I'll do something else, and so then we've got that problem in front of the problem that we got to solve before we can actually get to the problem. So we're great at distraction. That's my point, is that we can do all kinds of things so that we don't have to really look at what is. The other thing that we practiced last week at Metropolis was staying with our emotions for 90 seconds. And again, part of this comes from the work of Jill Bolte Taylor, who has done studies and said that an emotion lasts for 90 seconds, and that if it's like a chemical surge that goes through your body, and if you stay with it and don't run from it and don't distract yourself from it, but be with it for 90 seconds, it'll transform into something else, because our emotions are kind of like water. But instead, what we do is then, as soon as it's done, we attach another thought to it, and we keep the story going so that it goes on for decades instead of for 90 seconds, right? Because we're doing it over and over again. So this is an important practice for us because we go out of our way not to experience our feelings. We don't get to learn from them. So Jill Bolte Taylor said it this way, that when a person has a reaction to something in their environment, there's a 90-second chemical process that happens in the body. After that, any emotional response is just the person choosing to stay in that loop. So Pema Chodron also said that we vow to move consciously into the pain of the world in order to help alleviate it. It is, in essence, a vow to take care of one another, even if it sometimes means not liking how that feels. Maybe this poem brought up a lot of uncomfortable feelings for you, right? And so I'm going to provide a space for us just to be with that. But what does it mean to move consciously into the pain of the world? I think it means to be willing to acknowledge our past and present with open eyes, even if we don't like it. To not feel it is to be in denial, and then how can anything ever change or shift, right, if we're not dealing with reality? Not just on a global or national level, but on a personal level, right? It's like, how can you make any changes if you can't look inside and go, I need to really be and see this? How does moving into the pain of the world, again, help alleviate it? So we've already stated that on a personal level, we can go to great lengths to avoid pain. We've already said that. But what if we came to terms with the past and felt it so it could be transformed? And then how do we embrace the American dream if we haven't healed from the past of slavery and the genocide of Native Americans on which our country was built? And that's the question that is asked in Langston Hughes' poem. So we have practiced this on a personal level, but the same principle applies to the collective. So what does it mean to look at our past with open eyes? What does it mean that Pema Chodron asks us to move consciously into the pain of the world? So I was in Berlin a year or so ago, and what struck me was how the Germans have publicly embraced the Holocaust. They have not hidden from it. They haven't denied it. They haven't acted like everything's okay. They have fully looked at it. An hour outside of Berlin is a concentration camp called Sachsenhausen. And it was the first concentration camp that they ever built. It was the prototype. They were trying this one out to see how it worked so they could spread it around. And what's interesting to me is that it's still there. And it's nestled in this sort of upper middle class neighborhood. And what's weird about it is that you get off you take a bus and a train to get there, and then you have to walk a few blocks, and you look at these gorgeous houses, and you think, how could they not have known that was there? I mean, it literally was across the street and down the street. There's like no way you couldn't know that it was there. And how those people must feel, one after the war, and then even now, like to have that constantly there. And I applaud the Germans for not tearing that down, because how easy it would be just to, plow it over, get rid of it, and then just act like it never existed. And yet they don't. They look at it straight and full on. The other thing that one of the other things that they have is in Berlin, they have a memorial, and it's called the Memorial to the Murdered Jews in Berlin. And the thing is, they didn't like make it nice, you know what I mean? They didn't make a nice name for it, like remembering the dead, or, you know, they said a memorial to the murdered Jews. I mean, they just sort of said it right out there, right? How many of you have seen it? How many of you have been there? And so what it is it's made of rectangular concrete blocks that are just sort of set up, and you can walk through them, not through them, but you walk around them, and they're all set up in a nice line, they're all nice and organized, and then they start to get to be different sizes, and so as you walk through it, you know, maybe you go up, maybe you go down into a hole, and then you're turning, and you don't know where you are, and the whole idea behind it is that when you're walking it, you feel lost, and you feel confused, and you feel kind of sick to your stomach, because you don't know where you are or what you're doing. Its purpose, Wikipedia said, its purpose is to produce an uneasy, confusing atmosphere, and the whole sculpture aims to represent a supposedly ordered system that has lost touch with human resources. One of Germany's, the president of the parliament once said that he described the piece as a place where people can grasp what loneliness, powerlessness, and despair feel like. So it's right there, you know, it's kind of right in town. It's not off into the distance where you have to drive to get there. It's like you can't miss it. And that, to me, is embracing the past. It's about looking fully and completely and bringing it into daily life and not hiding from it. And I think that we, as our nation, can learn quite a bit from that, because we have a tendency to keep moving forward, and we don't really look back at what we have done or acknowledge it very much. I mean, it's being acknowledged a little more, but you know, we have so much farther to go. And just think about your own personal life. What's your own personal life like when you ignore all these things that are going on, right? So how do we then consciously move forward? I was in, I think it was Lake Geneva, I can't remember exactly, but it was in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was on a vacation with the kids, and there was this beautiful beach and lake, and it was just this really nice place in Illinois, and I was just walking by myself, and it was one of these beautiful days where, you know, the sun is out, it's like 75 degrees, and I was just walking on the beach, and I'm like, God, this is so beautiful, it's so wonderful. And toward the point, I saw a statue, and I thought, oh, well, that's cool, I'll go see what it is. And it was a statue of a Native American who had been the original tribe that had lived in this place, and they were forced out, and they were told that they were, and of course they were really connected to the water. That was part of their culture, that they loved the water. And anybody who's from the Midwest or Chicago knows how much you love Lake Michigan. It's just this very special place. It's a very spiritual place. And they were being forced out into more of, like, you know, Nebraska or someplace more inland where there was no water. And so there was a statue there of a Native American looking out at the water with sorrow in his eyes, saying goodbye to the water because he was leaving it. And I'll tell you, it ruined my day, you know? I was having a really good time just kind of walking along the beach, and everything was beautiful, and I'm like, you know, connecting with God, and then boom, it's like, I see this statue, and I feel this pain, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that this had happened here. And that's reality, right? I mean, even that's life. It's like life, everything's great, and then boom, you know, and then everything's great, and it isn't. And it's part of incorporating and bringing in the truth, the light of truth. I mean, Alice Walker said that we need to put the light of truth on things in order really to heal and to move forward, instead of denying the past or pretending it didn't happen or moving on like it's okay. So again, Pema Chodron said that we vow to move consciously into the pain of the world in order to help alleviate it. It is, in essence, a vow to take care of one another. And if even if it sometimes means not liking how that feels. So, you know, we've been doing the 90 seconds, and I just would like to just take and kind of begin to make this a part of our practice of being with that. So you've heard a lot this morning. I don't want to send you out wounded, so we're gonna lift. But I want us to be real, too, with where we are. So I invite you just to turn your attention within and take a deep breath. And just to be with the feelings that the Langston Hughes poem brought up in you, or about our past and how we can heal it. But no, you don't have to think about that right now. I'm asking you just to feel, and I'll shut up. We'll just feel. And deep breath coming back. And you may feel like you've done nothing, but you did something. You put forth energy toward feeling what you're feeling in order to transform, not just on a personal level, but more on a collective level. So one way that we heal racism is to face our wounds from the past. One way that we are strong and move together is by owning the past. Imagine what we could do together and how we could rise. I mean, we are such a unique nation, and I always see it when I travel. When I travel, sometimes it seems like there's a sameness to other countries, because they've been there for thousands of years or whatever, and but we're so mixed up, it's like we're just such a blend, and our strength really is our diversity and our differences. It really is what makes us so unique, and it makes us so brilliant, and it makes us so strong. So may we embrace our past with its warts and all. May we celebrate these differences, because as we sang earlier, we who believe in freedom will not rest. We who believe in justice will not rest. We who believe in a better world are willing to do the spiritual work that needs to be done. And we're going to do it with love and compassion. And it is so. Amen.